capacity to 50, and look at a third increment or 25 MGD. That's the deal. So that's all spelled out. That hasn't been issued yet. But
yeah, we'll go over to the details of that in a minute.
So, and we've selected the delivery to be a design build delivery for this project. Trying to have, well, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves because that's very your stuff. I guess that's it for the background opportunities. So, CLTWater. So we have this plant project expansion, and then we have another large diameter water transmission main that we're also starting. There's, as a matter of fact, there's an RFQ out right now. I'm sure you all are aware of that for we call it Statesville Road Booster Pump Station. And that's going to be part of the new project, as we call it, Northeast Water Transmission Main. So the large diameter line will come out of the Franklin plant over to this booster pump station, which will push the water up into this pressure zone, the 978 pressure zone. So that's what we're needing the most amount of capacity in our system today. So between the plant expansion here, excuse me, and the new project, we'll be able to deliver probably another 50 million gallons a day into the pressure zone. And pipeline projects. Yeah, and there'll be a couple other pipeline projects probably coming in the future, but as of right now, just this new, which I don't know, Jason, maybe talk a bit about that, get further down. So any questions from any of that little bit of information? We get a lot more detailed.
Yeah, there'll be some maps. So like we wrote new in the 4 different phases. So the first phase is what's going on.
Yeah, this will be just phase 1 of, yeah, like Cole just said, 4 phases. Ultimately, come all the way down to the Idlewild booster pump station. It's just the first phase over to Statesville.
I do. Just share curiosity. If you're from like an engineering consulting firm, we'll see your hands up. Hey, what about contractors? There's a few. What do we have left? Like subs support? There you go, make friends. Whole room full of friends. All right, so goals for today. These are going to be a little bit of a revisit from our capital improvements presentation a handful of months ago, if you guys were able to be there. We're going to look at some of our upcoming infrastructure plans. There'll be slides on each individual project. Our intent is not to go super in depth into the projects outside of Dukes, but we will talk about the generalities of those other projects and what opportunities we see for design teams and for subs, whether it's a contractor sub or a design team sub. Of course, make friends. I recognize a lot of faces in here, but there's a lot of opportunities to make partnerships too. So, okay, so we have introduced ourselves. You have Chuck, myself, and Sam. Sam is going to be in charge of the project here at Dukes. We'll touch more on these on some slides later. Jason's going to be in charge of new phase 1. Well, I guess I'll save my comments. And then we have another project manager, Nikki. She'll be in charge of Statesville Booster Pump Station. She's not here today. Those are the handful or the couple of projects that are in our immediate future. We have a number of them identified to be designed and constructed over the next 5 to 10 years. In the event you are not familiar with CLTWater, we're going to dedicate the next couple of slides to talking about just how fabulous we are. Our goal is to be a utility, and we serve to provide the highest quality water and wastewater services to our community. We have a water supply coming from 2 different points within the Catawba River. And then we have 3 water treatment plants. So that's going to be Franklin, which is our largest. It's real close to our administrative offices on Brookshire. And then Vest is actually just down the road from that. And then, of course, you're all sitting here at Duke's today. And over the last couple of months that we've been evaluating these projects, I consistently say Vest when I mean Duke's. So if that comes up, I probably said it wrong. All right, so we have 242 million gallons a day of total treatment capacity. I mentioned a lot of that sits with Franklin, but of course we'll be expanding Duke's here and it'll get to be growing as well. We have enough wastewater pipe and enough water pipe that all by themselves, you could go from Charlotte all the way to Alaska and back. That's one of my favorite facts. So a lot of pipe to maintain in the ground. And then as far as wastewater, we have 5 major water treatment plants and then our water resource recovery facilities. We're building our 6th. It's looking at going into operation roughly a year from now. And we also have another packaged treatment plant. And I didn't necessarily say it there, but we're called CLTWater, but we are a department of the city, but we don't just serve the city. We serve all of Mecklenburg County, and then we have a number of interconnections with all of the towns and cities that surround us. Some of them are everyday use and others are emergency connections only. Lots of valves, almost 100,000. So a lot of work for our field operations teams to make sure those are in working order. And if you've ever done any pipeline work, they always are. We have 2 different raw water reservoirs at the Franklin water treatment plant. And then I mentioned we have the 3 different water treatment plants too. So. All right, as of fiscal year 25, we issue our facts and figures. It's a public document that you guys are welcome to find on the internet. But we've pulled some of those statistics for you here today. So we have, if you were to add the water and the wastewater mains together, it's like the last color. We have over 9,000 linear feet of main. On average, we treat almost 90 million gallons of wastewater every day, and we pump out 125 million gallons of water. We are a AAA bond rated company. That's something we are proud of, and it takes a good amount of management to maintain that. As of fiscal year 25, we've invested almost $500 million in capital improvement projects. So there's a lot of money, a lot of opportunities rolling out to be able to maintain these wastewater and water systems and be able to give our customers a good level of service. And then our customer base is over 1.2 million folks and growing. That's a real popular place for people to be. So I'm going to turn it over to Sam to give us some details on some of the upcoming opportunities.
Great, thanks, Nicole. And thanks everybody for coming today. It's really exciting to see this amount of interest in our upcoming projects. So start going through those. All right, so today we're launching the water treatment plant and pipeline program. And so this is a new holistic program that we've been looking at. You'll see in the map, we have 2 specific areas shown. So we'll highlight those projects in those areas. But really the reason this has come about and why we wanted to be here today is we're in the process right now of updating our master plan. And one thing that we noticed was that we're seeing significant system demands coming in, and it makes a lot of sense when you're driving through Charlotte. I feel like a tourist sometimes. There's just new buildings all over, and so that just means we have more people needing more water. We also identified that some of the assumptions that we made originally may have been a little low, and so now is the time for us to try to make up for that. So our per capita usage, originally we thought it was going to continue to go down since our last master plan with the efficient fixtures and other improvements we were seeing, but actually it's plateaued. And so since we didn't see any more advantages from that, that's starting to catch up. Also, like I said, the population growth that we're seeing is pretty extensive. I think right now, the latest statistic we heard with the city is 150 people coming in per day. So that's hard to keep up with. We're also working to manage non-revenue water, but that's still something that's coming up. And then we're also seeing new resale customers. And as we've seen in the whole area, also they're seeing growth. So all of that coming together has resulted in us kicking off this program. So we're going to try to fast track this work. We're going to have these expansion projects to try to get us moving forward. And overall, our goal is to really increase system capacity, and especially in this 978 pressure zone. So we didn't mention it, but we do have 3 pressure zones here at CLTWater. And the 978 is in the northern part of the county, so where we're at right now. So with the opportunity types that we're seeing, we're going to have multiple RFQs going out, and also just ITBs. So next, we'll have progressive design build RFQs, just professional services. I should have said just RFQ right now. But we will have multiple professional service RFQs going out. You might also see RFPs for other services, equipment, and material.
Doing good.
Oh, sorry. So we've got hard bid construction opportunities as well. And then what that does is result in opportunities, therefore, for our subcontractors. So lots of exciting things we wanted to share today. So I'll start off with the water treatment plant opportunities, since we're here at Lee Dukes this morning. So like Chuck had said, this plant is a conventional water treatment plant. It was put online in 1998. Originally, it was meant to treat 18 MGD. And then in 2000, we did some other modifications right after the initial plant was built. And we added a clear well, some other improvements, and we also got approval to hydrate the plant at a filtration rate of 5.5 gallons per minute per square foot. So what that's done is resulted in a treatment capacity here of 25 MGD. So that's where we're at today. So we'll just go over process flow. We'll also talk about this out on our tour next, but it's always nice to see some of the highlights. And I know it's very small, but we'll walk through it. So we pull our water here from the Blythe Landing intake off of Lake Norman, not too terribly far from here. So it flows by gravity here in a 60-inch raw water line. And then we add other chemicals. So we have PAC, that we feed. We're actually in the process of getting our chlorine dioxide system up and running. And then we have the capabilities to adding chlorine and potassium permanganate. Once it arrives here, we add a coagulant here, which is aluminum sulfate, and then it goes through rapid mix. And then our traditional, flocculation, sedimentation, and then we'll move on. It moves on to the filters. Here we'll add. We use our disinfectant is chlorine gas, so we add that as well. We can before the filters, and then once it goes through the filters, we have our finished water chemicals, which include chlorine, fluoride, and lime. Then it goes out for storage in the clear wells. We get our CT time, and then we pump it out with our high service pumping station. So residuals go through the classic. We have an equalization basin followed by clarifiers and gravity thickeners. And all of that's contained here. So we have partners also that then take those residuals and then we land apply those. So this is very standard, nothing too fancy. And then I will say we dechlorinate with sodium bisulfite before discharging into the McDowell Creek. So we have that permit available. So currently, I think it's worth noting, we have 2 projects going on. We have a preliminary engineering report.
We had a person in the chat that wanted to know if
Oh, yeah,
we can share this presentation with her.
sure, we can, yeah. So great question though. Thanks for letting me know. Let's cruise through. So first of all, we're going through a preliminary engineering report right now to define what will be included in this Lee Dukes expansion project. We're fast tracking that with Black and Beach, and we anticipate for that to be done in April of 2026. Then we're also doing a high rate study right now. We want to see if we can actually get approval to treat more than 5.5 gallons per minute per square foot. We're starting our conversations with the state, so we're not sure if that's going to get approved. So there are many more discussions, and we need to determine the feasibility of that. But one other part of that is we want to make some improvements to the sedimentation basins right now, and we plan on adding plate settlers. So we're having that design done, and we want to advertise that commodities contract in April of this coming year, so 2026. We think that the plate settlers would really help us with our settled water turbidities and have other advantages as well. So now is the time to make those improvements.
Do you plan to share a draft version of that ERQ goes out?
Yes, that's our ultimate goal. It's a good question. So we want to share that document once it's available. All right, so I think that's where we're at. Any more questions while I'm?
That goes for contact information. Everybody in the chat's put it in. So.
Yep. Oh, great. Okay, good.
That's all.
Nice. Okay, so now we'll dive into the expansion project. So we're going to release 2 RFQs in the next few months. So the first one will be for owner's advisor services for the Lee Dukes expansion project and associated infrastructure. So that RFQ is going to be out in January of 2026. So it's coming up. Then we'll have progressive design build services RFQ out in April of 2026. So we want to try to get that to coincide with having that final document. So then we can share that with potential teams and they can see what we're planning. Overall, we'll talk shortly about the scope. So in the OA services, those will be professional services that will help us from procurement of the PDB team all the way through construction and the warranty phases of the Dukes expansion project and any other associated infrastructure. The progressive design build services RFQ, that scope of work will be for the design and construction of the expansion project, which will then have 2 phases. So the first phase we have shown in red here, which will include an 18 MGD conventional treatment train and additional associated structures, processes, and appurtenances. So all of that means we want to add a duplicate of what we have now. And then we'll also have residuals basins added along with a clear well and some other chemical feed modifications. The other thing of note is the plate settlers that we purchased, Charlotte Water purchases. We want the PDB team to also install those basically as soon as we kick things off because we want to have that, get that advantage in the sedimentation basins. Once that first phase is done, we want to move directly into the second phase, which will be an additional 18 MGD train. We're still trying to figure out the timing of that, but phase 2 will include that second conventional train and then any other structures and basins that are required as well. So we've already identified an additional clear well, a gravity thickener, and then we're also planning on modifying the residuals process. We plan to have mechanical dewatering and a structure and all of that equipment added here. Excuse me. So the other thing I will note is we'll have to have a 60-inch raw water main also installed from the existing intake all the way here. The nice thing is we already own land, so we'll just need to install that dual raw water main. All right, and so we'll have plenty of subcontractor opportunities along with these projects. So from an OA services, we're just putting out some ideas. There could be cost estimating support with the PDB team. Of course, there could be hauling, testing, sedimentation control, erosion and sedimentation control, surveying, you name it, we anticipate our teams will need that support.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like that list isn't everything and it's not what it's limited to. Those are just our initial ideas.
Yeah. All right. So we'll move into the water pipeline opportunities now. So like Chuck had mentioned, we'll also have this northeast west transmission main, and we'll be breaking it into phases. So we'll start with phase 1. So the scope of that is going to be roughly 33,000 linear feet of large diameter transmission main. And like he said, we'll go from Franklin to the new Statesville Road booster pump station. The pipeline diameters are going to vary anywhere between 48 inches and up to 84. We're finalizing the actual diameters right now through some modeling. And it should be of note, we're doing the design in-house. So Jason Marshall is leading that work. And then, but we have identified that we'll also have an RFQ for engineering services and support. So we're anticipating that scope to include cost estimating, constructability reviews, and then it will lead into construction admin support. So we're finalizing exactly the details on that, but you'll see that issued in the 4th quarter of FY26. So that should be in, spring, summer of next year. So coming up. All right, and then we'll move into the actual construction part. So we'll have a hard bid with this project. We may break it up into two separate projects. So we're still determining that. But the timing is we'll have that design completed. We'll have that project out on the street in the 1st quarter of FY28. So what that will be is the summer of 2027.
Yeah, so our fiscal years start in June, end in July. Wait. Yeah.
Yeah. So July of 2027, we'll be hitting the streets. And then once again, we have subcontractor opportunities identified.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. And then finally, this is our last project that we're going to highlight today is new phase 1 also has a Statesville Road booster pump station project that's we're piecing that out separately. So right now we have this engineering services RFQ is on early bird. It's out there for people to put a proposal together. That deadline is January 15th. So just everyone note that. And then the scope is going to include design of a 25 MGD booster pump station, along with decommissioning our existing serrated booster pump station. Then that has its own subcontractor opportunities as well associated with that design. From a construction standpoint, we'll also do a hard bid on this. So classic design bid build. And the timing of this is we want this to be advertised in the 2nd quarter of FY28. So we're thinking September of 2027. Once again, more subcontractor opportunities that are suggested areas that could be of benefit. So we've got like grading, clearing, paving, those sorts of areas. And so that concludes overall what we're presenting on this program. So we're really excited to share this with you, and we just really appreciate this opportunity. So are there any more questions on this before we start the tour? Wow, so quiet. Okay. We share the PDF of this presentation. We have our contact information of the 3 of us here. Essentially, we'll have the tour today. There's another tour option on Friday this week, and then we just ask that this is our opportunity to share this with you and your teams. We won't be offering more tours though. But if there are any questions, feel free to contact us along the way. Well, great. So what we'll do is I'll take us off the Teams meeting. And then what we'll do is I think it would be helpful if we could divide up into 2 groups. And then what we'll do is we'll actually go walk the plant today. Before we go, we'll be walking in the chemical feed area. So if you have glasses, that would be great time to put those on. We do ask that you don't take pictures inside the building. Anything outside is fair game, but inside, please don't. And please stay within the group. This is an active water treatment plant, and so we need to keep everyone together so we don't get lost. Okay. All right. We'll meet out here in this lobby, and then we'll. Thanks. Yeah. So.